Hello there, my mate Vince here, and welcome to day 21 of the My Mate Vince Advent Amazon Return Challenge, where I bought a whole pallet of bug zappers, Amazon returns, and I'm trying to fix them. So here we have day 21. Sit back, relax, get yourself a drink, and enjoy.
Metal detector.
Here we have a SunPal metal detector. I featured a metal detector on my channel quite a few years ago now, and it wasn't staged. We went to my dad's house. My son, on the first swipe across the grass, it came up with something. We looked in the grass, and I've been playing in that garden with my Star Wars and stuff when I was a kid 40 odd years ago, and I never ever seen, well maybe not quite 40, 30 something, I never ever seen anything in that grass. Yet this far under the mud, on the very first one of them, he found a gold ring. How good is that? And it didn't belong to my dad, and it didn't belong to my mum, so it would have been there for years and years before then. It was one of my favourite videos, but for some reason it didn't actually get that many views on YouTube. It wasn't pushed at all. It was a great video. But anyway, we've got the metal detector again here. So let's see what is the matter with this one here. Now unfortunately, although this is new, I can't see any signs of any usage. The LCD is cracked. I can see a crack going all the way across here. Look, if I put pressure on it, you can see there. That you can see it's gone here. So yeah, that's a shame. I won't be able to repair a cracked screen. You might be able to buy a replacement screen for it, or a generic one may fit if it's a kind of standard off-the-shelf part. It's something that I may look into another time, but I'm not going to look into now because I'm a little bit against the clock, and changing out an LCD isn't really a repair. I don't think it's going to be that interesting, but I might well look up the price of this, see how much they cost, and then if I can get an LCD from AliExpress for £6, £7, £8, it might well be worth popping one in. But I will I'll look at that another time. Just out of curiosity, I'm going to quickly undo the 4 screws just to see, and I could have a quick look just to see if you can buy them. Right, a little bit more awkward. You can see it's got the backlight built into it here. We've got solder points going down here and here, and we have a whole load of solder points there. So it's actually soldered onto the board. There's no ribbon cable, so to speak, off. Now, if you unsolder it here and unsolder this, and at the bottom here, there's solder points as well, there might well be some model number or something on the back. I'm just going to take a quick picture of it and see if Google can suggest anything about this. So unfortunately, Google Lens didn't bring anything up. When I took a picture of everything, it thought it was from some animal weighing scale. And then when I took a picture just of this, it was distracted by the cracked LCD and just brought up loads of things about that. So what I would have to do is unsolder all these as through hole, here, 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 and also here. And then I'll be hoping that there'll be some marking on the back. So that is what I do. First of all, I add leaded solder to each of the points just to make them easier to desolder. And then I get my desolder station on the go, but it doesn't seem right. It's not taking off the solder, it's just melting it. And then I realise it's got a jam actually in the nozzle part. So I've got a special little cleaning tool that comes with it, but I can only get that in about 1 inch and a bit before it doesn't go any further. So then what I do is I turn it all off and I wait for it to cool down. I take it apart, and then when I put the tool in from the other side, I realise that there's a blockage on the inside of about 1.5 centimetres. And I had the gun up to proper temperature. So yeah, for whatever reason, the solder has solidified in the middle and it's not getting hot enough in that section to suck it through. The tip of the desolder station is nice and warm and can melt the solder, but it can't suck through because there's a blockage about 1 inch or so up inside it. So what I have to do is I clean all the back part, but there's not that much solder in there because I've already cleaned that only a few months ago and I don't use this very often. I have to get my little micro drill set out and I have to try to drill through that blockage. Eventually, I don't get all the way through, but I get most of the way through. And then when I heat the iron up again, I now it has suction. And I use that special little tool in and out because it's got a little bit of serrated edge, a bit like sandpaper, and loads of dust comes out of this desolder station. I'm hoping that's old solder and the element's not breaking down, but that's the first time it's happened. But maybe if it happens again, maybe I might need a new element. I don't even know if you can buy elements. Anyway, eventually it is cleared up, and then I can unsolder this. Right, let's see now. Is it going to free itself up? It's nearly at temperature 477 degrees. Yes, look at that, right the way through. Can you see it in there? There we go. I heard it suck then. Yay, can you see that? No, I'm not bothered about breaking the screen. Oh, look at that. Seriously, how good is that? Oh, maybe the backlight is separate. Maybe the backlight's got nothing to do with the screen. Just going to melt those two there. No, the backlight has to come off, surely. That's where the... it's going to be all one unit, isn't it? There we go. Oh no! There's nothing there. That's a waste of time. Anything on the board? No. Oh no! I was expecting to have a maker's mark. So what a shame. I was sure there was going to be some printing on the back of this, and that would have led me to be able to buy another replacement, even if I had to get it from somewhere like AliExpress. As it stands, I've got nothing to go on. Google Lens isn't bringing anything up, and there's no print anywhere to give me an idea of what this is. So unfortunately, unless somebody out there knows what this screen is and where I can find one, then this metal detector will not be getting fixed, which is a shame because I'm sure it's going to be working just fine if there was a nice new LCD display to put in there. So yeah, unfortunately, I can't fix this.
'Tis the season.
Look at this, 150 foot off lights, so 45 meters of LED lights. Looking at the box, it looks like they did belong to a hotel in Littlebourne, but now they've been sent back to Amazon. Their mains, so I've got to be careful, their mains fed, there's a little safety cover on here, and you just plug this into here to get them live. And I've seen this, I haven't gone through all of it, but this jumped out at me, and this jumped out at me, and that looks like it should have gone there. So now, either a squirrel or something has had a go at it, and then they've got a bit of a shock, and it's broken, or I wondered if there's something short together and it kind of blew. But it definitely looks like there might be nibble marks here, because when you look at others, they're not like that. So I'm thinking that maybe some animal had a little bite off that. Also, what's quite nice is they've got these little clips on here, so you can clip them onto stuff. The price of them new is $39.77. Right, it's not Christmas without trying to fix some lights, so I am glad that this is in the pallet. So I think what happens is, this is the bit that plugs into here, and then we can do that screw up to make that nice and watertight there, but realistically this is probably going to be undercover somewhere because you're going to be plugging this in. And then this is the other end of it, and you're supposed to screw this on. You can see this is quite dirty. This is to allow you to extend it, and also look, we've got brown here and brown here, so I think that this did live on here. So we know now that that is going to be the part that feeds the next light. I just want to see, would it be possible to plug that in to the main side, or is it different? No, it's different. So that can only plug into the next male one here, that of the next set of lights that you get. So yeah, so that's good. So you are going to have 240 volts going down here. The reviews are actually very good. So what I'm wondering now, and as well as that, apparently these are the E12 bulbs. Yes, they are. And they're supposed to have a kind of, it said they had like a silicon seal, but I can't feel no silicon seal there. I mean, you can definitely see that water's got into that one. Let me just take a random one off here. Maybe that's why this one blew. That's clean. Is there supposed to be a bit of glue here or something? A bit of silicone? And it's they're plastic covered. I'll just do one more random one. I was expecting to see a bit of rubber, a kind of rubber washer. But look, every one of them seems to have this kind of stuff on them. But I can see bits of water have gotten into all of them. Yeah, I mean, look there. You can see that it's got water ingress. The idea is they're supposed to hang down, not up. Yeah, some of them are clean. Well, I'm not going to go across every single one of them. If they work, they work. I mean, it wasn't me that designed it. But you can definitely see that water's got in as far as here. Yeah, okay. Yeah. So, to make them better, if you were to have a bit of silicone kind of rubber washer around here, and then when you screw this in, that's going to butt up against the rubber. But remember, these are cheap. Okay. Right, so let's take this off. We want to try to attach this one back onto here. In fact, my hands feel ever so slightly wet. Right, that's given me enough slack. So I think it looks like maybe a rodent's had a go at here, I wonder. Do you think that's what's happened? No, do you know, that's gone. I'll tell you where that's gone. That's gone at the very base, isn't it? Because look, we're going to be going in that far, and look where it is. So yeah, water's got in there. So maybe this one was up like that instead of there. So as the rain was hitting it, normally it would run that way. But if for whatever reason it was on a bush or something like that, a hedge, and it was up like that, I think water's been sat in there. And I think that's just shortage. You know what would be interesting? Shall we see if the fuse in the plug has gone? 3 amp? No, fuse is all right. Okay. So I'm going to use some pliers. I'm going to try to open that up. Maybe from here. That's gone quite nice. There we go. Fantastic. Right, okay. Oh no, so it's going to have... Hold on, this is all rotted out of it. So I need one to go up the side here, and I need that to kind of clamp onto the bottom, don't I? You can see it's all rusted out. Now, I'm thinking there's 75 lights. I don't think one being out is going to make much difference. It's just going to drive the other ones a bit more. Or is it not? No, hold on a minute. There's no, this isn't low voltage, and there's no driver for this. It's just mains, and you can add another bunch of lights onto the end here. So why am I even messing around with this? We'll just have one more spare bulb, and we'll just take one out of circuit, no? So why don't I try to open up this one and see if see how the wires are done. I might be able to join this wire straight onto here. How am I going to do this now? I might be able to join this wire onto here. Do you know what I mean? I'm presuming they've been pierced in. When you close this, I presume there must be some kind of like IDC connection which pierces into the wire. I can't imagine them soldering every single one. Right, this one doesn't want to come apart. I certainly don't want to go. think they're probably easy to make, very hard to take apart. There we go. Right, so what you do is you get, oh, annoying, I broke that clip there. I think second one I've done, I think you go under here by the wire and lever out. So you can see that they do pierce. So all they do in the factory is they move this along. Obviously they've got loads and loads of these. They put them on, snap the lid shut, and it pierces. But what I'm going to be doing is, so we can see that that one pierces there and that one pierces there. So can you see there? That pierces that one, that pierces that one. So let's keep it in the right orientation, because it was here, wasn't it? So all I've got to do now is wire up the lights onto there, no? And then it should be waterproof in here. I'm just wondering, there's not going to be the strength of the cable holding them. I want to hide the break. I think I'm going to have to solder this and this one, you know, to these two, and then solder the other two to this, and then try to fill all this with glue, and maybe even cable tie this onto here, around here. So that's going to take the pressure. It will fail here and here quicker than anywhere else, because they're going to be under more strain there, while when they're here they're not under any strain, they're just on the weight of the cable itself. Right, okay. I think it said in the instructions that these were double insulated. Which they are not. Nah. Remember, it might not be these ones. I've seen a cable with another sheath over it. Right, okay, now. So this is going to be the one on this one here. So I'm stripping the cables back, and I'm just going to temporarily join them together just to see how many of these lights are working. If there's only 10 working out of the 70 odd, then I probably won't take it any further. I've definitely seen a lot of them look very chalky, so I think quite a lot of them have had water ingress. But remember, I don't know the background of these. I'm thinking I found the Amazon listing, but I have no idea. For example, the buyer might have sent back a different set of lights that he got from elsewhere. I don't know the background of these customers and the items they're sending back. So later on in the video, I'm bad-mouthing the product quite a bit, but I don't even know if this is an Amazon product. I have zero idea of the background of it. But for me, the product, considering it's outside, doesn't seem overly great. I mean, should they be double insulated, these wires here? Normally, when you have cables outside, they're quite well protected, while these still have 240 volts going down them outside in a wet environment. So anyway, I'm just taping up the wires just temporarily, just to see if the lights work. It's easy to know what wire to connect to what, because one lot of the wires have writing all the way down them, every like 50 centimeters or 30 centimeters or something. So one wire is completely clear and the other has manufacturing marks on it, so I know which ones to twist together. Right, so we've got two left because we've got two broken ones here. So let's bring all these up here and let's see if anything is going to light up. So I think if you got these, and if you were to silicone the bulbs in, because they're only plastic anyway, so when they blow eventually a year later or however many years later, when you go to unscrew them, it doesn't really matter, does it, if you break this, as long as you're unplugged here. Then I think if you were to silicone each of them in, just, I know it would take a bit of time, but once you've got your silicone gun, just go round each of them. I think that would make them much more waterproof. I think that's going to be the failure here on, well, basically all of them, and the water sat in the bottom, I think, and just blew out. Blew out all around here. Bang, 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 all around this area here. I thought it might be a rat, but it's not. That line is too straight. I think that's been blown. Right, I'm going to plug it in and see what happens. In we go. Oh, lovely. Oh my word. No way. I wasn't expecting that at all. It looks like every single one of them is lit up. How is that even possible? No way. This one here is struggling a little bit. This one here I can just see has gone dim in the middle. This one's gone dim in the middle now. I can see one flicking here. So we've got another one not working here. There we go. That's a bad connection. And here we've got a bad connection. Or is this a dead bulb? This is I think a dead bulb. Look at that, dead bulb. So that's a bad connection there. Maybe I should put a bit of tape on each of the iffy ones, and then I can. It just shows you how good mains is. It probably fights through the corrosion. See, this is flicking down here a bit. I think lots of them are going to have iffy. Can you see this one is flickering? I think lots of them will have iffy connections. Well, I was shocked. I was expecting to see loads of them not working. So I'll be really interested in other ways of doing this. I can fully understand how it works at the factory, but that's because you're going to have a lovely length of wire. So maybe they just get this wire on 500 meter drums and they're just reeling off 10 times 50 meters and then just going along, and then every meter clamp a light on, every meter clamp a light on. It's probably done on a machine. How would you do this now? Because I don't want the wire to be joined mid-span because it's going to look horrible, and also there might be more chance of getting water in it. Yes, you could use a waterproof connector, like a telecom connector. I've probably got some in the garage that I could just clip on. But again, they're going to be about 7 or 8 or 10 times the size of the cable. So it's going to look odd when you have this nice thin wire, then all of a sudden a massive connector. But that would be probably the best way to waterproof it and also give it a bit more strength, because they're going to be kind of like clamped at either end. But to make it look nice but also safe, how would you do this? So yeah, the very first connector I do, I completely ruin. I'm just going to fast forward through it. So I'm trying to cut the wire, wrap them together, and then solder it to the bottom connector. And that way then I'm not relying on the point of the connector piercing the wire. I physically soldered it. But the plastic is plastic, and when I add the solder to the metal, it melts straight through the plastic. Right, Vince, why am I wasting my time? I've got 75 lights to play with. I'm going to be all day on that. Let's just go to the next light. Hopefully that one will come apart okay. It's useful to have spare bulbs anyway, so it doesn't really matter if I've lost 2 meters of cable, you know. So now I'm going to be doing the same with this one. If this doesn't work, I'm just going to put heat shrinks on this and cable tie it, because then the weight's going to be on here. But if I can hide them in here, I just think it will look nicer, because I think these are going to go up in my garden. I must stress here, this isn't to sell on. If I get these working, it would be purely to use myself. I would never give these away or sell them on to anybody else. What I deem okay for me to use is completely different as to what I would think may be safe for someone else to use that I've tampered with. Right, so I'm going to go through here again. There we go. Well, that's definitely not the way to take them off, because they keep snapping everywhere. But luckily I've got one good one here. The one from the original burnt one. Right, okay. Don't mess it up now, Vince. If I put loads on here, hopefully it will go in there all right. There. Yeah, see, I'm not going to be able to get the base on that. It's not enough. The wires are too big to get in there. Maybe when I melt it, I might be able to, when the solder goes, I might be able to get it in. I think I'm just going to end up pushing straight through the plastic again, because I'm going to need quite a lot of force to get this down. Let's give it a go. I didn't think it'd be this hard. Stuck up here though. So I'm going to have to try to heat it up from up here and push down. Wow, it worked. Okay. Well, look, I will be able to get that there and there. The problem I've got is I won't be able to get this next layer on because it's only made for one cable. I wonder, I'll tell you what I could do. I could put both cables out this side, like that, and then these two cables out this side and just have a weird, you know what I mean, just have a weird loop on this one here, yeah, like so. Because otherwise what could happen is I could end up piercing, you see that spike there could end up piercing through this, and then I'm going to have a short. That's not going to be any good. Right, and I should just be able to get that up in there. Like so. Do you know what? Those spikes will probably pierce through anyway, which will make it even more, give it an even better connection. So now I'm going to try to flood that in there with solder. So I hope you can see what I'm doing here. I'm not saying it's safe, but this is my thinking. So we know that the live is going to go to the bottom pin, and we know that the side pin is going to be neutral, and the live has a spike sticking out and the neutral has a spike sticking out. So beforehand you had the live wire and the neutral wire running side by side, and one spike went through the live and one spike went through the neutral. Now what I'm doing is one side of the lamp has got two neutral wires in, and the other side of the lamp holder has two live wires in, and the spikes are still doing what they need to do, and the wires are connected together with solder and also joined to the pin at the bottom, and also the bit of copper type thing at the side that attaches to the screw part of the lamp. So my thinking is that it should work, but I just don't know if it's safe. Right, okay. I think that's in. So now, I think I would like to, before I put this on, I think I would like to, because I think that will fit in there, I think I'd like to try to get some glue around here if possible. Let's try to melt some of this in here. Maybe I'll let it just drop in and then do that. Hopefully that's enough. That's loads. And push that in. There we go. Wow! It actually went in. Right, because I didn't allow for the bend and stuff like that, I must have, when I was making it, maybe I was making it like this, but you can see I have baggy bits, that's annoying me. Also, I pulled the wires apart for too long. So I'm going to try to just put tiny little drops of super glue just to see if I can bind them together again. I think it will just make it look nicer. Because right now your eye is going to be drawn to that because of the wires are all spread. Wow, super glue seems to glue this stuff really, really quick. You know, normally super glue, although you think it goes off instantly, it really doesn't. Oh my word, I don't want to pull it apart, but that really is gluing. I'm going to do the other side. I don't think I've ever seen anything glue so quick. Wow, it's acting like a welder. I love that. Apart from your hands glue the quickest thing ever. Human skin and super glue is amazing, but that's what it was designed for apparently. Stitch up wounds without stitching. Well, I'm amazed by that. I didn't think that would go together like that at all. I don't want to put it yet, but you can already see how much better that looks. So I've put them out in my kitchen. They took 20 minutes to unravel. Boom! Look at that. Now, one bulb was completely dead and one was flickering. Apart from that, every single one of them is working. Look, every single one. Aren't they nice? So this one here didn't work, but yet if I wobble the bulb, it tries to light up. You can see it just gives little flashes. Shall we try to take it apart to see why it failed? I think it could be interesting. And this one over here was flickering, but it's gone steady now. I just grinded back the bottom bit. Now, the reason I've done this is to prove a point, and that is, I'm sure lots of people are going to say in the comment section that it's going to be obvious which one has been repaired. But even if I turn the main lights on, honestly, if you came into this kitchen now, you would not be able to find out very easily which one was repaired unless you looked at every single bulb. So I'm pretty sure when these are installed, you're not going to spot it. Now, I've helped myself. I've pointed the end towards it. It's this one here. There you go. There's no way that you would detect that that was the one there from any bit of a distance. So I am actually pleased with that repair. Now, let's take this little one apart here and see if there's any way we can get it working, purely for fun. I've got this plugged in at the moment. There you go. When you do that, it comes alive. But yet it doesn't when you unscrew it and screw it in. It's something to do with flicking it where it comes alive. So it's definitely had water ingress, and I can see that there's bits of broken rust and stuff in here. Let's find out what the problem is. I'm just going to unplug this. So the reason this particular LED failed is because it had rusted through completely. I tried grinding it back, but there wasn't much metal left. I then tried soldering up what I could, but the actual LED strip had broken away from the metal. So behind this kind of yellowish stuff, there is normal LEDs. My question is you know, you get warm white and you get cold white. On these outdoor bulbs here, is that determined by whatever colour they put on? So for example, this is a lovely yellowy kind of rubberized stuff that they put over the LED. Is that the thing that's given the colour, or is it the LEDs themselves? For example, if I was to get an outdoor light which was cold white, would there be a more whitish colour or a blue, you know, sort of whitish blue colour over the LED, this kind of like rubberized yellowy stuff. Not too sure. Anyway, it can't be fixed. It's broken completely internally. I was only doing this just for fun. What's the most interesting part about this is that the LED is fed by a 22,000 ohm resistor on both neutral and live as well. So it's a 22,000 ohm resistor, and it looks like a wire wound resistor. So anyway, my wife's seen these and absolutely loves them. I got up the next day, I'd like to say in the morning, but it was the afternoon because I worked so late, and she'd had them already installed in the garden. Now, I woke up thinking about these lights and I'm not happy with them for reasons that I'm going to talk about now in a minute, but I just want to show you them outside because I do love the look of them. But it's not just my repair I'm not happy with, but as well as that, I'm not happy with my repair because the thing is, I don't really know what separation there is inside here. I've used a glue gun to stop the wires from having any chance of going together, but that hot glue stick that I'm using, although I put it all the way up to 450 degrees Celsius and it melts to near enough liquid, it's definitely all in there, but I don't actually know if it's rated, what voltage it would be rated for isolation reasons. I'm thinking it's okay, but I don't actually know that. As well as that, it's 240 volts AC outside. So it'd be different if there was this was like 12 volts and the AC adapter was inside, but I shouldn't be repairing things when they're going outside in the elements with the rain and everything. So I'm going to show you them outside, but I need to buy some proper ones, and I think I'm going to buy branded ones. I'm going to tell you what I think about these lights. It's only my opinion, and it's probably completely incorrect, but it seems to make sense in my head, so I would just like to know the answer in the comment section if possible. I don't think these lights are safe, but I could be completely wrong. They're very cheap, which is great, but I think I'm probably going to have to pay 4 or 5 times the price, and I might see if I can get a brand like Osram or something like that where I think would be more waterproof. But anyway, let me show you the job my wife did in the garden because I think she did a fantastic job. But trust me, these lights are not staying on. These lights are going to be scrapped. I'll use the cable for, I might be able to use it for repairs or something like that. And I wouldn't even feel safe using these lamps either because I don't think they're very waterproof. And I'm going to talk about that in a minute. Right, here we go, my wonderful drawing. I do commissions if you want me to do art for you, but I'm very expensive, obviously. Now, first of all, as far as I can see, the cable going outside is single insulated. Some of the things on Amazon show double insulated cable, which is going to be safer because if you got a little nick on it, it would have to go through 2 layers of insulation rather than 1. With just a 1 layer of insulation, 1 little nick, and you're down to the live wire on the inside, and you might touch it and you might be stood in the puddle outside. Hopefully your house would be protected with your consumer unit, but you shouldn't have to rely on that. The product itself should be safe. Now, we know that these should be installed facing down, much less chance of any water sitting in here. But it is possible if they were going through a bush, a hedge, then they might go upright. A squirrel could be in there picking things away, and then that might fall and go upright. It's not unbelievable. You've already seen in this lot here that quite a lot of them are chalky on the inside, and the one that blue has holes where clearly water must have sat in here. So now pretend this example here now where water's been sat in here for a while, and it just so happens that this neutral went rusty before the live. This is why I think it could be dangerous. So there's water sat in here and this neutral one has gone rusty. So now you think this isn't working, you think the lamp's blown because it's not working anymore because it's not making the circuit. So you go along to change it, but stupidly you haven't unplugged it, and it's raining at the time, so this globe here is all wet, or it might have previously been raining and it's still wet. Remember, we've got water in here already. You think the bulb has blown. The bulb hasn't blown, it's just not making a circuit, but yet the water is conducting the live from here up to here, and this whole thing has now become live because the rusty side here is no longer working. So normally you would get a short here and it would trip hopefully, the circuit breaker in your house. But it's not tripping because this has gone so rusty. And then I go along, or somebody goes along, or this guy goes along and touches this, and then he's standing in a wet puddle with frogs and everything else around him. And then, of course, that live now is going to take the quickest route to Earth as possible, and is going to go through this gentleman, and he's going to get electrocuted unless the circuit breaker in the house protects him. So that's why I think they're unsafe. Is this in the realms of possibility, or have I just made something up which is just never ever ever going to happen? I think that could happen, and that's the reason why I'm going to completely scrap these lights. It's a shame because they look nice, but I'm going to go for a brand, and maybe then they're going to be more waterproof here with little silicone rubbery bits that's going to seal the lamp in the holder. I think they would be much better, and also hopefully they would have some sort of double insulation. But put down what you think in the comments down below. Do you think, forget about my repair, do you think these are safe, or do you think they're not safe?
Yum yum.
Here we have a UB Pet smart refrigerated feeder. Let's open it up and see why it's been returned. Okay, it's quite a clever thing. Annoyingly, it didn't come with the adapter. I think so far it looks like it's working okay. So what you have to do is you turn it on by holding down this one here, and it's been whirring away for the last few minutes. And what it's doing is it's refrigerating. This bit here is nice and cold. I can bring the FLIR cam in, or you can just take my word for it. In fact, you can see when I'm putting my hands on, I'm getting fingerprints. So hopefully that will show that that it's cold. There's like condensation building up on it. So that is keeping this cold here. You've got to line up the arrow with this thing. I haven't fully read the instructions. And then you set your time here. Let me show you. So you can set 4 different feeding stations. 1, 2, 3, 4, but there's 5. Okay, not sure about that. And I don't know why we've got the 5th one, unless you have 4 locked away, and this is just the open one, because we have the open one here. Anyway, I've got it set to 8:29. One of them's going to go off at 8:30. So there you go, 8:30 now. In that clever? So it's going to go round to number 1, which must be this one here, and then it's going to go to number 2, which is this one, 3, then 4. You can't set it by the minutes when it comes to here. You can only set it by the 10 minutes. So I'm going to leave it now. I'm going to come back, if I remember, at 8:40, and we should see the next one move. 8:50 next one move, then 9 o'clock the next one move. So it's quite a clever little thing. Also, it's nice that it's not constantly whirring for the refrigerated bit. I presume that only comes on when it gets too warm. So that's good. I think this product's going to be quite expensive, and as far as I can see, it works absolutely fine. And you can tell that it's had no use. So this is it was either delivered without the adapter. I've used my one that I fixed from the massager, but it needs a special one that I got from the kit here. It's not like a standard one here. It's a special one. So I've had to use, one of these ones that from like a laptop kit that I got. You might well find that by the time you've found that adapter with the right size, then there might not be any profit to be made on this, but this is definitely a new item here. I'm going to come back in another 8 or 9 minutes or so. Have a listen now, it's kicked back in. So the fans just kicked in. So obviously the temperature started to rise, so the fans kicked in to make it cool. I bet you there's a Peltier on the inside, like a dehumidifier. Also, you're not going to have it set like I've got it set in 10-minute intervals. If your pet needs feeding every 8 hours, you'll have it set in 8-hour intervals. I've just done it to save myself time. I think this is going to be big money. Yes! I haven't looked around to see if you can get it cheaper, but this is it here. Refrigerate with cooling. UB Pet automatic cat feeder, wet food with cooling. $95.99 on Prime. Fantastic. What I'm going to do, just to prove that number 2 has come round, let me just take this off. And this is going to be number 2 here, because it goes around this way. And then we'll know if this appears that it's gone round the correct way. So it's just gone off again now. So it's nice and cold. Yeah, you can already see it's cool there, can't you? If I take that out, there. Can you see compared to my finger that's cold compared to the rest there? There we go. Should be any second now, surely. I thought that was never going to happen. There we go. Fantastic. What a clever little item.
Summary.
So how did we do on day 21? Metal detector. Garden lights. Which is a real shame. But luckily, and I haven't even had to touch this one, the wet cat food feeder here. It is £96, so that's £48. I took off £6 because I've got to find an adapter. I may or may not be able to find one, but I want to make myself a bit of money. But I think even that there, because it's new, I think you'd actually get more than 50%. It looks brand new to me. But anyway, that's the rules we've been going with. So I've got it down as £42 today, which is nice. That's a little increase from the other days. Maybe one of my best days so far. Oh, there was a £43 there. So yeah, not too bad. Let's see if day 22 will bring more money. Fingers crossed. I'm concentrating more now on trying to get through more items, so hopefully these figures will go up.